7 points. New Zealand third with 135.60 points. Canada's fourth with 139.20 points. And currently in fifth place is Germany with 145. And Australia, they're rounding out the top six with 156.40 points. We should point out, Jill, that extreme care has been taken in preparing the horses to come here to Atlanta with all the heat and the humidity.
Yes, Peter, there's very close monitoring of the horse's weight, temperature, and cardiac recovery. You can see the misting fans that they'd installed to help these horses cool down. And they have these specially designed cooling tents. The Olympic veterinary coordinator is Dr. Ken Allen, and he's amassed a group of some of the best vets in the world to take care of these horses.
And I bet you there's a lot of people like to be in that cooling tent about right now. We're going to start off the cross country with New Zealand's Blyth Tait riding Chesterfield, a 10-year-old thoroughbred gelding. Now, Chesterfield, this is a dramatic story, was actually rescued before going to the slaughterhouse.
Well, he looks like he's in super shape today, and this is Blyth setting out on course, and he's one of the most experienced competitors in the entire world. This is exactly who I would want if I were Roger Haller, who designed this course, to be setting out first on what I had created. Here we have Blyth taking his first several fences, which should be just straightforward galloping fences to get his horse going in a good steady rhythm, so to give him confidence for when the things get more technical later on.
It's a great aerial shot and coming right down. Is he on the fast part of the course now?
Well, at the beginning part, the first several fences, you do want to go fairly quickly because you want to set your horse out in a very positive attitude so he knows he has some serious work to do. So this is a fairly fast portion of the course. It will get much technical later on.
Oh, boy.
See, that was our first set of combination fences, and it looks like that horse didn't doubt that at all. Blyth's having a very strong ride.
And the fans are really into this too. You can get that close to the horse and feel the thundering feet. They get quite a reaction when they successfully jump.
Well, it's pretty interesting also riding a horse that's not that experienced when you have fans that close to the ropes, because some of the horses back off the ropes. So it's another added element. This is just a huge fence, the Rockdale Bridge. Saw his horse really stretched out to get across the top of that. That's a very technical fence too. He was just a bounce stride in between those two. I bet that fence will cause some problems later on.
Wow.
You got to notice the course design. Roger Haller's done a tremendous job. He's done a tremendous job researching all the history of Georgia, and he's designed fences to reflect a lot of that history. Here's the first serious complex into the water, the Costley's Mill. They jump these two fences around the edge and then find their way into the water, trying to be as quick as possible this whole way. Oh, and he's going the fast route on his way out, easily on his way. This is a great first round.
Absolutely. Boy, he took the tough course and he came through so smooth. Going through the water like that, that's not easy for a horse.
Oh, it didn't look like it bothered him at all. He's still galloping strong. This has got to put New Zealand in great shape. Here he comes down to the second water complex. This should be a decisive fence as well. We'll see if he's going to go the faster route. You can see on the top of your screen where they chart the fast route and then a slower, safer route for the less experienced nations. Ooh, this horse has all this experience he needs today. Oh, well done.
And horses are normally afraid of water, wouldn't you say? Is that
Well,
an exaggeration?
Some horses are afraid of water. These horses you train them from the very beginning to be very positive. This is another thing that's been tough in course design lately. See the narrow-faced fence there? That's been quite the theme of course designing lately.
Right there. Okay.
There's a lot of terrain around this course too. You see all the ups and downs. All the drop fences like there where Blyth is sitting back. That's very taxing on a horse as well. It makes them tired, all the ups and downs. It also sometimes, if they're not sure of their footing, makes them lose a little bit of their confidence.
Well, we're talking tremendous power in horse and rider and precision we talked about earlier, and you're seeing it here. This is a great ride.
You can see how he's still going fairly fast, but the horse is getting a little bit tired. He's landing and dropping his neck a little bit on the landing side of fences. You can see Blyth is starting. See the horse, he's just getting a little tired, wanting to drop his neck. Blyth's doing a very good job of keeping him together, but you can see it's been pretty taxing. He's not galloping away from his fences quite as strongly as he was at the beginning. Blyth's trying to conserve it so he has something left at the end. He's still going around really fast. But you can see he's being a little bit more careful now. Okay, this next combination he's going to come to is another place on course where he has an option whether he's going to go a fast route and save some time or be more careful. We'll have to see what he does. His horse looks a little tired, but he's still jumping the fences well. I would bet he'll jump straight. He's making his turn, and he looks like he's setting up. Yeah, he's setting up for the narrow-faced corner here in this little barnyard. You'll see, you just jump that little edge, and then you're on your way again. What a great round.
This is Blyth, Tait, and Chesterfield.
He's the first...
I'm sorry, Jill. Yeah.
He's the first horse out, and he's on his way to his last fence. This has been a tremendous round. I'm sure Roger Holler's ecstatic.
Oh my gosh, there's a lot of tension here. No jumping penalties so far. Wow.
What a super round. So that was our first taste of how it's going to go. He's just got this last bit up to the finish.
And there he is. That's New Zealand's Blyth Tait, an exciting round with Chesterfield finishing with no jumping penalties and 20.80 time penalties. Up now is Great Britain's Ian Stark on Stanwick Ghost, a 10-year-old thoroughbred gelding. Interesting name, Jill. And this strong British team is currently in second place.
And this usually is their strongest phase, the cross-country phase. All the riders around the whole world pretty much go to Great Britain to do their training because we're trying to become as strong as their teams are. So he should put in a very strong ride today. This big horse is having kind of a hard time with the footing. I was talking on the first ride how there's all the ups and downs. He looked great there, however. But I think some of the horses today will slip around on the course a little bit. He's a little bit bigger than Blyth's horse, and he was having kind of a hard time. See how he does at the water here. It looks good so far.
Relaxed.
And he's going for the faster route as well. Oh!
Ouch. Whoa. Oh, my gosh.
Oh, and Ian did a great job with that. The horse just misjudged.
And Stanwick Ghost. Try to get a look at him. He's standing.
Ian looks very calm. Of all the riders, he would know what to do. He's checking him out, making sure he's okay. The fences are solid, but you see the ditch isn't that deep. The horse looks fine.
Oh, yeah.
I would bet that he's going to get back up. Here we have it in slow-mo again.
Boy, this should be interesting. Whoop, little glitch there on his left. Can't quite make it. Shoulder over, somersault. Whoop. My goodness.
Well, he came back. Looks like his horse is fine. Ian's going to mount up, and he's back on course. And on to the finish. Good job, Ian, for getting that horse around.
Great Britain's Ian Stark finishing with 80 jumping penalties and 41.20 time penalties, a total of 121.20 and an exciting ride. Here's Great Britain's William Fox Pitt and Cosmopolitan 2.
This is a very strong cross-country rider for Great Britain. He's hoping to have a really strong round to post a good team score. However, you'll see he has some problems. You'll see it in slow-mo coming up. He's coming down to the technical fence number 8, and the horse just misread the combination there. He thought it was only one obstacle when it's really two in a bounce. Bad luck there for him.
So we recap with William Fox Pitt finishing with 20 jumping penalties and 42.80 time penalties. It could be near to impossible for Great Britain to medal now. Up now for Australia is Phillip Dutton. Phillip rides True Blue Girdwood, a 13-year-old thoroughbred gelding. Australia was standing 6th, but that could all change now.
It has been an interesting day. This horse has been really strong this year, however, and the Australians, though their dressage placing wasn't that strong, could do some good work out here. There he is over the first fence and on his way. Let me just talk about the penalties a little bit. They start with their dressage marks, and then if they jump all the fences here, they get a clean round. The way they penalize it, the first disobedience or stop is 20 penalties, the second one at the same fence is 40, and the third would be elimination. He looks to be having a fairly steady round. He's putting confidence into his horse over these first few straightforward obstacles.
Jill, how many penalties if you fall?
A fall is penalized by 60 penalties for the first time, and if you can get it together and get back on, second fall is elimination.
Phillip Dutton for Australia looking very strong in this go-round.
This horse has a lot of experience, so I would expect he'd put in a good performance. Here he is at that huge, didn't bobble much there. He's not going tremendously fast, but his horse is fairly sure-footed around the course.
Now we're coming up to Indian Village.
This is a very technical place. He's on the curve down to that bounce combination, and easy.
Great control, great control.
Oh yeah, this horse has a tremendous amount of confidence. There he's putting the speed on more. I bet he will have a quick round. He looks very steady. I think he's pretty deceiving. He's actually going a lot faster than he looks.
And remember, we're getting speeds 26 miles an hour. And here we are on the flat. The Old Town Ponds. It's a nail biter, Jill, huh?
And he's going the fast route. He tipped forward a little bit on the landing there, but he was taking Blyth's lead. Oh, and he even takes a more direct route out than Blyth did. He is going fast today. He's going to put up a good score for Australia. Look, that horse didn't miss a beat. Phillip just tipped forward.
Well, you see that in slow-mo, and you can see some of the endurance necessary. These guys are in great shape.
Here's a beautiful fence. Roger took a long time designing this. This is the Olympic Garden. You can see the Olympic rings there, and the horses have to choose their route. You can see him cantering in the edge and popping out over the hedge. It's a very specific thing. It's not a tough fence, but it's very specific.
Well, you've got big logs that are camouflaged with little pretty flowers, and if you misjudge that, you're going to ram into a big log.
Here's another part where the terrain comes into effect. He's coming down that hill, and then that huge fence there. Yeah, he's moving again.
Well done.
And here he is, that last FAIRPLAY farm. We'll see if he sets himself up to jump the corner on the edge of the barnyard. And he must be.
This is Australia's Phillip Dutton. And no jumping faults to date.
This is a great round for him. He really poured on the speed for the last half of this course. You can see him keeping up his pace. He had a little slip there around the corner. But Phillip has a lot of experience. He's very steady, doesn't let it bother him, keeps going. And here we have the second to last fence, the peach stand.
Fresh peaches too, Joe.
I'm sure he'd like to stop. And on his way to the last with a clean round, we think.
Phillip Dutton taking it home. The last jump, clear, and coming up over the finish line. So Dutton with no jumping penalties and an 8.80 time penalty. And now for the United States, David O'Connor and Giltage, a 10-year-old quarter horse gelding. The United States was standing in first place after phase one. So with a quarter horse, I'd like to mention, Jill, too, that David is married to fellow teammate Karen O'Connor.
Yeah, and Karen has already been around the course. She was their lead-off rider on Biko because he's a very experienced horse. And he had a little bit of trouble at the Old Town Pond, so I'm sure that David has adapted his plan, and he's probably going to take a different route there. We'll have to see as he gets further along in his course. First several fences, this horse is jumping very positively.
Jill mentioned a little earlier in the ride that Giltage is a quarter horse. You don't see too many quarter horses in this competition.
Yeah, most of the horses are thoroughbred or thoroughbred crosses because they have the speed and the endurance. But this horse, we'll see how he finishes, but this horse has plenty of run in all his preparations for these games.
There's a nice look at the embankment coming down through the trees.
And this is that first combination. This horse isn't wasting any time through there. And you can hear the crowd really supporting the American riders. This horse has a big galloping stride. You mentioned he's a quarter horse, but he sure doesn't run like a quarter horse.
Very smooth, very strong.
And here he is down to the big step fence. No problem there.
Oh, they're loving it here in Atlanta. So David O'Connor coming up to jump 7, 8, and 9, Indian Village.
And through the bounce there. This horse is shaking his head a little bit. Looks like he's wanting to take over a little bit. Hopefully he won't get away from David and he'll keep listening. There, you see him fighting with him a little bit there. He's finding his way. No problem with the fences. I think the horse is just a little bit frustrated with the terrain and all the turns.
And the crowd perhaps too.
Well, it's certainly a noisy crowd out there. They did a good job of planning most of this course so it'd be in the shade to keep the horses out of the sun, because they found that that's what took a lot out of them. You can see him here at the water. This is the first water. This is not where Karen had the problem. Yeah, he's still going the straight way here. This is where Ian had trouble. No problem for David.
And he's clean through the tough part right there. So coming up the embankment.
So he just has one more fence before he gets to the Old Town Ponds. Oh, and the American, he took the keyhole route. Most of the other riders are jumping the brush jump on the other side. And he's on his way down to the Old Town Ponds, where his wife Karen earlier had a problem. So we'll see if he switches his route. You can see from the aerial shot there as he's galloping along, you want to pick the quickest route between 2 points. So a lot of times you're galloping along these avenues of people with your toe, the toe of your boot, right next to the crowd, because that's the quickest route.
Here we come into the nail-biting section.
He's got his reins, he's setting him up. Yep, he jumped just to the right. Yep. Doesn't take that much more time, it's just a slightly easier option. And his horse looked very confident through there. And David, right in rhythm with him.
Great approach to that jump, and he clears it with ease.
Looks like his horse has calmed down a little bit. You can see he's not shaking his head anymore. David's gotten a little bit smoother on him. The teamwork is coming out now. This is a very smooth, positive round. He's hoping to go clean since Karen had a stop, so the U.S. team could have a clean round. This horse is very good over all these narrow fences. And you can see David, he's not pouring on the speed. He's not going as fast as we saw Phillip Dutton. Here he is at the corner, FAIRPLAY Farm.
That may cost him a little in time penalties, but in the long run.
Yeah, he's having a clean round. I think that was probably their plan, because Karen went around with a little bit of trouble just to get David around clean. Come home with a clean round, maybe a little bit slow, because that'll put the U.S. where they need to be.
So coming up through the peaches.
And now he's letting it, now it's a pretty safe bet. It's just easy fences at the end. He's doing them as fast as he can. That horse is still feisty.
So here we're coming up to the finish line. A strong, gutsy ride from David O'Connor and Giltage. And they finish up with no jumping penalties and 35.20 time penalties. So a great ride from David O'Connor for the United States. Here's Ireland's Alfie Buller on Sir Knight.
This rider's looking a little bit tired here. See how he's a little bit loose in the tack.
Well, he gets over that one.
Yeah?
When you say loosen the tack, Jill,
It just looks like he was a little tired, the rider.
So he finishes up in the cooling tent, and they, Alfie Buller and Sir Knight, they had the strongest finish.
Oh, you
for
see him
Ireland.
there. Look at, he is a little bit tired. I mean, it's a physical endeavor out there, and you can see him, he can feel it.
No jumping penalties, and 15.60 in time penalties. This should really help the Irish team. U.S. teammate Bruce Davidson is now up on Heyday, a 9-year-old thoroughbred gelding. Bruce is a 2-time 3-day event world champion and a 5-time Olympic veteran.
Yeah, he has more experience than just about everybody there. You could probably add up some of the other teams' total experience and it wouldn't equal his. He's the 3rd member of our team to ride. Since Karen had problems, but David jumped clean, he's going to be definitely looking for a clean round, just a little bit faster.
There's a great aerial shot. Bruce Davidson on Heyday.
This is a nice young horse. He didn't get to ride the horse that he wanted to, Eagle Lion, in this games because he broke his ribs at one of the selection trials and didn't get to compete him later in the day. So this is actually one of his second choice rides. It's an incredibly nice horse. Hasn't had any problems yet around here. He's also being guided by the veteran.
Oh, they're really behind him, Jill. Gives you a good idea of what that country is like in these aerial shots.
Yeah, all these fences are constructed. I mean, they took a tremendous amount of time. I mean, he researched the area. Oh, and good through there through the bounce. Rogers researched the area and tried to reflect all that research in his building of the fences.
And he's followed history very interestingly through here.
This is Bruce having just a tremendous ride again, and he looks to me like he's going faster than David was. We'll see how his horse fares with the terrain here. This is where it gets a little slippery in the shade. No problems. Well, these horses certainly don't look like they're dealing with a 3-day event in Atlanta's humidity. They look strong and ready to me. I think they've done a tremendous job with their veterinary work. And here he is at the first water, taking the fast route. Oh, easily through there.
Oh, a walk in the park for Heyday.
Bruce always makes it look so easy. He's jumped so many fences in his life. He's just so ready to deal with any situation, and the horse picks up that confidence. And here he is down to the Old Town Ponds. We'll see if he follows David's lead and jumps the right-hand side. Yep. Well, a little stumble there, but Bruce was right back where he was supposed to be. See how he sat back a little bit, landing in the water. That helped balance his horse. He sits back just a little bit extra, and that horse stumbles, but he's right where he's supposed to be. And this horse is still full of confidence.
Tremendous athletes.
Okay, you can see him here. It looks like he's going to, again, take the long route, just exactly like David O'Connor did. So I would imagine that this was a team plan to get these horses around safe and post a good team score. No problem. The horse is following his lead, not wasting any time making all those turns, finding his way through the fences there. And here he is, the aerial view down to the Olympic Garden again. And he picked a route slightly more to the left than everybody else, and he's on his way.
Jill, you're a great 3-day eventer. What would be going on in your mind about this point in the race?
Well, about this point, I'd be amazed that I jumped clean up to now, and I'd be seeing how much horse I had left and how fast I thought I could do the rest of the course. You see Bruce, he's thinking the same thing, because you can run a horse toward the end of the course, because at the end you have all the vets to help you out. You see, he's really pouring it on.
Yes, indeed.
He knows exactly how much horse he has left. Oh, and you can see now, there's the rider in front of him. Bruce is having such a blazing round, he's caught the rider in front of him.
That's Pal Tuska from Hungary. He's going to overtake him.
Bruce, a great ride at the corner, and you can see the other rider gave Bruce the right away, which he should have done.
No match for Bruce Davidson. Coming up to the peak stand.
This has got to be a fast round. Look at that horse run.
And Pal Tuska coming in behind.
Probably happy to take a lead from one of the greats. And over the last fence.
And over the finish line, and veteran Bruce Davidson comes through for the U.S. team with no jumping penalties and 20.40 time penalties.
What are you jumping the corner at the